Hello guys. Yeah, today it's raining at my place also. But I'll have to see if there is any video on it. But at your level, how I debug the code is we can just walk through it and take any example of our choice and just walk through it. You know, in most of the cases that would suffice. But yeah, you can search for any video if it is there. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just drink some water and then we can start. Okay, so let's start then, right? In yesterday's class, we discussed about inheritance and use of the super keyword, and we saw how we can use the super keyword to call the methods of our parent class to access the data members of our parent class. We saw constructor chaining, right? How we can call another constructor within the same class. We also saw how we can call a particular constructor from the parent class. So all these things we were experimenting about, right? And I've updated it in the document that I share with you guys, right? I think all of you have access to it now. Okay, I'll just still once again I will share the link. Although I saw that one student already shared it on Discord, chat, everyone. Okay, so that is all we discussed yesterday, and we started with polymorphism, right? Yesterday we started with polymorphism. I said that poly means many, morph means forms, so it's like many forms, right? Not very relevant to us, but still, just to uh, have an intuitive understanding of it. And we saw overloading, right? Yesterday we saw overloading, and that is it. Our discussion for overloading is done, right? It's also called as compile time polymorphism. Because what I mean by saying that it's compile time polymorphism, so we were seeing this example yesterday, right? So I'm making calls to different implementations of the print sum function. So during the compilation only, it is deciding that which particular implementation of print sum it's going to refer to. That's why it's called as compile time polymorphism. There's nothing to overthink here. It's just by that simple logic, it's also called as compile time polymorphism. That's it. The other thing that we have in polymorphism is, let me just, method overriding. Okay, we have method overriding, right? So let me take a very small example for this. Okay, let's have an animal class. Okay, we have an animal class. So let's say it has a function void sound, and it's just printing animal sound. That's the only thing it's printing. So it's just a pretty straightforward implementation. And what did I tell you yesterday about? Just a second, let me allow you access to chat also. So yesterday I was telling you that, not yesterday, I mean day before yesterday, that when a particular class inherits another class, right, extends another class, the parent class, it inherits all the properties of the parent class, plus it can have certain specific implementations of its own, right? So if I talk about the animal class, maybe what I can say is cat and dog. These are my child classes. Okay, so when I write the child classes, just saying animal sound does not make much sense at this point, right? So what I want to do is, for cat function, for cat class, I want to implement a particular form of sound function, right? I want to have a different implementation of sound function here. And for dog, I want to have a different implementation of sound function. Okay, so what we will have is we will have a void sound function, same name. Okay, and what we are doing here is we will simply, here we will say cat meows, just a simple thing, and dog barks. Okay, so my point here is, so you can have a this thing here around brackets to declare that it's a function. So are you getting what I'm trying to say? There's a class cat that is inheriting from animal. Dog is also extending the animal class, inheriting from the same class. So now the sound function implementation, animal makes sound or animal sound, that does not make any sense much longer. So what I'm doing here is, for cat function, I'm defining a particular implementation of the sound. For cat class, I'm defining a particular implementation of sound function. For dog class, I'm defining a different specific implementation of sound function. This scenario is called as method overriding. Okay, it's not override that you do with variables, it's override. Okay, this riding. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward case of method overriding, and that is it. There's nothing like there's nothing else that we need to talk about in case of method overriding, right? So let me quickly take this example, write it in terms of code also. This thing I have pasted in the document, so I'm just removing it, right? This doesn't need to be there anymore. So overloading is when you are doing the implementation of same function in like by changing the number of arguments or data type of arguments or order of arguments in the function, and that is done within the same class. But when you are involving inheritance in it, then it becomes overriding, because what you are doing is you are taking the base function using the same name but giving it an implementation of your own. So let me do a demo like for you guys so that you understand it better. Animal, a very basic class. So when I write the sound function for it, what I will have is sound, sorry, animal makes sound, right? That's it. And now what I will do is class cat animal, right? So void sound function again, and what I'm going to do now is cat meows. So basically that's a characteristic, that's a behavior that is specific to a cat. Okay, and then I have class dog, again that also extends animal, and what it does is void sound dog barks. Okay, same function name. Let's see what's happening here, right? So let's make an object for class cat and dog, right? Cat c1 is equal to new cat, right? Dog d1 is equal to new dog, right? And let's call the sound function for both these objects, c1 dot sound, c2 dot sound, sorry, d1 dot sound, right? Let's see what happens now. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward and that's how it is, but let's see. Cat meows because you have called the sound function of cat class, because you are calling it with the help of cat class object. Then dog sound is what? Dog barks. So is this clear to all of you? Okay. Means we need to make object for cat and dog respectively to call the overriding function. Yeah, Diptendru, yeah. There is nothing new in it. Hierarchical, yes, Melvin. Call animal class. So I'll do it. You tell me what will happen. So animal You tell me what will happen now. Why is line 13 not printed? So this will not be printed because you have not called it, right? So what you have done is, that's what overriding means. Because you have two implementations. I told you, if your cat class did not have a sound function, then it would go to animal to search for a sound function. But now when you are searching for a sound function with the help of a cat object, first it will check the cat class to see if there is any specific implementation of the sound function, right? Because it gets it here, it does not need to go to the parent class, right, to see animal make sound. So if I run this one now by creating an object for animal class, then you will have animal makes sound, right? So what's your doubt now? How to call sound of animal from C1? So from C1 you cannot call it. Numan, you cannot call it. Chirag, the fact that you are using the same function name, see, using the same function name and providing a different implementation in the child class. Okay, same function, because it's doing the same job. It's telling you about the sound of that particular animal cat. It's doing the same job, but its implementation is different depending on what animal you are talking about, right? That's why this is overriding. You are overriding the logic. So now what will happen when you will make a cat class object? What will happen? This particular implementation of sound function will be referred to. Okay. Now tell me what's the doubt, because some of you are not clear with it. To me, it seems like a pretty straightforward idea. Comment line 20 and run. Comment line 20. So we will not get any output here. So let's see. Cat meows, dog barks. Just a second. Okay, line 20. Sorry. So line 20 you commented. So basically this particular thing, C1.sound, right? The output that we were getting corresponding to it, cat meows, that is gone now, because you have an implementation, right? Although you have not done anything, but you have an implementation. So it will go to the sound function of cat, and what will it do? Nothing, because you are not asking it to do anything. So that's why you don't have anything printed for the cat, but you have dog barks and animal makes sound, right? Let me just see your doubts once, then I will allow you to chat again. Is it hierarchical inheritance? Yes, Neil, very good. It is. We can call child class function using parent task reference variable. I will tell you, Misbah. That we will come to. Can we call the sound function? How can we access sound function of parent class from child class? Super. Use super keyword. If you comment line 19 also, then so if you comment this whole thing, then what will happen? So now you are not doing any kind of overriding. So now cat, this object will search for a sound function implementation. It will not find anything here, so it will directly come here. What will it say then? Animal makes sound, dog barks, animal makes sound. Okay, right? Because cat में कोई sound function है ही नहीं. That's why it's directly going to the animal class to search for a sound function, right? So that's how it's working. So overriding means you're using the same function from the parent class, same name of the function from parent class, because its job is similar, but you are providing a specific implementation in the child class, right? So that's what you're doing here. What is difference between overloading and overriding? So Vamsi, in overloading we did not involve inheritance, right? In overloading we were doing different implementations of the same function in the same class, right? That is overloading. We can call child class function using parent class reference variable. Yes, we can, but I'll come to it in a later while. Where or when we have to get the sound function for cat class in real life coding. So Vipul, the point is, there are when you have a parent class, the idea is, see, if you see this particular example, try to understand it intuitively. Animal is a broader term, right? Cat, dog, elephant, lion, tiger, all of these are animals, right? But when you make a particular animal out of it, let's say a cat or tiger, in that case, it might be possible that a function that you are having for the parent class is not up to the mark. For the child class, you want to have a specific different implementation, right? So in that case, this will come handy, right? This is a very small example that we are having. In real life example, what you can do is, let's say you are extending a class that Java is providing you, right? And you want to use a function which does the same job, which does some particular job, okay? But you want to define it in your own way. Okay, so you are having a class A which is extending from some parent class, but you want to implement a particular function in your own way. So there you will write the same function, you will be overriding it basically, and inside the implementation you will write your particular logic. Okay, so the basic idea is, coming back to the basics, the idea is you have a particular parent class. In the child class, if you want to have different implementation, what will you do? You will simply use the same function name and give a different implementation. Okay, now when you create a child object, it will not even go to the parent class to see which function you are talking about, right? So that's how it's working here. Now let me just allow you to chat again. Yeah, now tell me if it's clear, or do you have any problem, and what's the problem if you have any. If we had printed, if we had made constructors with same name in all classes, animal and dog would have been printed. I'm not getting this. If we, you cannot make constructors with the same name in all your classes, right? Because if you make a constructor in class cat with the name animal, that does not make any sense, right? So this is what you are asking me to do. See, the error is invalid method declaration, return type required. It's not even processing that you are talking about a constructor. It's already assuming that you're talking about a method. But if you write cat here, it's perfectly eligible, right? It's a constructor. So to make a constructor, you will have to give the same name as the class name, na? So I didn't like that. Your question is not clear to me, but yeah, I explained what the deal with constructors is. Like print, we are doing overriding there, right? It's not exactly overriding. You're talking about the print ln, right? It's accepting a string and it's just printing it on the console. Inheritance ambiguity. No ambiguity. There is no ambiguity. When you create a child class object, it is going to go to the child class implementation. There is no ambiguity. Okay. No. Even if cat and dog do not implement extend the animal class, you will not get an error. You can have same function within different classes, right? But it will not be called overriding in that case. Okay. Overriding is for methods only. Yes. Method signature is what? Signature is the name of the, is basically concerned with the this one argument list, name of the function and argument list. And let me just confirm this once, because this is something that I also get confused in. Method signature. Java method signature is a combination of the method name and the parameter list. Yeah, method name and the parameter list. That's the method signature. So that's what we say, right? Signature should be different for overloading, and here the signature is same. Do you see? Parameter name is same. Parameter list is same. There is no parameter. Name of the function is same, right? Copy the code to the chat. Yes, let me do it. Control C, Control V. Can I pass parameter in method overriding? So let's try it. If you pass a parameter here, right? So it's not overriding anymore, right? So what you're doing here is, now when you call d1.sound, it will go to an implementation of sound that is not accepting a parameter, which is this one. So what will you get now? c1.sound. So cat has a sound function, cat meows. d1.sound without a parameter. dog does not have a sound function that is without a parameter. So where will it go? It will go to the parent class that has a sound function that is not accepting any parameter. So now you will have animal makes sound, and obviously for a1 dot sound you will have animal makes sound. So it will be cat meows, animal makes sound, animal makes sound. Okay, so if you do it like this, right? So that's what will happen if you pass a parameter. Ambiguity is only in case of multiple inheritance. Yeah. If we have to write again in child class, and why we need this, we can also create new method. Chirag, that's the point, right? You don't want to create a new method because a method, the job is still similar only, right? Even for cat, even for dog, you're actually dealing with the sound only. You just want a different implementation, right? So in Java or in any programming language, or whenever you are programming, the job is to make things as intuitive as possible, right? So when you have the feature of using a meaningful function name, why use a different function name, or why make a new function, right? Ambiguity is on. Okay, this is different. Use super to call parent class function once. करते हैं मिसबा. Let's do it right away. Okay, so what you want to do is, let me remove this one. I have shown you what it will do, and instead of doing this, let me just say super dot sound. Okay, so now what I will get, and let me just remove this one. Just a second, right? Remove the cat one, right? So delete this. Okay, so what I will have now is this one also. I'm deleting. I have a dog object. I'm doing d1 dot sound. Inside dog sound, what is happening? First it will go and call the sound function of parent. Animal makes sound. Then what is it doing? It's doing dog barks. So what is the output you are going to get? Animal makes sound, dog barks. ठीक है ना? So let's see if that's happening or not. See, you created an object for dog, you called sound function on that, and what you are doing there is, first you are going to the parent class, right? Parent class sound function, and what do you have here? Print statement saying animal makes sound. Then what do you have? Print statement saying dog barks. So animal makes sound and dog barks. You can also do it like this, right? There is no harm. Control C, control X, control V. So if I run this now, what will happen? First dog barks, and then you will go to animal makes sound. Okay, so if I run this, right? So this is the kind of thing that you can keep doing with it, right? I'm just going to paste this here. Let me just change the date. It's not 5 March, it's 7th September. Okay, so I will just keep writing these things. What is this? Example overriding. Okay, so yeah, now tell me what's your concern. Let me just allow you to chat once again. Yeah, what's the doubt? Or if it's clear. So can we print any specific properties for any child class without calling the parent class? Okay, so Rishabh, in that case you will have to have a property here, right? आपको मान लो cat के लिए कुछ print करना है. So cat should have something of its own to get printed, right? Let me define one variable, or let me define one function, void run. Okay, so it can have an implementation. Cat runs. Okay, so now this is a function that is specific to cat only. Animal does not have this run function, right? So I mean, if this is what you wanted, yes, we can do this, right? Let me just make it inside dog, because I have created an object for dog, right? Cat I am removing altogether. So d1 dot sound, d1 dot run, and I am removing the super call as well, right? So, and let me just comment this call altogether. So I'm just calling d1 dot run function. Okay, I should just say dog runs, right? So if I run this, sorry, if I run this now, dog runs. Okay, sorry, my mouse is, yeah. Okay, so it acts same like we had variable a. Both in this we used call the call the variable using object.a. It goes to the exactly super.a goes to access the parent variable. When do we use the override? Override is not a keyword, Vivek. So this override that you have, right? So there is an annotation override. So it is an annotation. It's not compulsory to use it, just to make your code look more proper, right? More systematic. You use this particular annotation so that if you're defining a particular class, whenever you use this particular annotation, you can understand that, okay, this is the place where I'm doing overriding, right? So just to make your code look better, more systematic, you use this particular annotation. Is it compulsory? Will your code give error if you don't do so? No. It's just a good practice, right? So let's keep this annotation here, right? It's an annotation. It's an annotation, right? Not a keyword. In overloading, also function names were same. Yes, Anis, function names were same, but we were changing the argument list, and we were inside the same class only, right? Here you are overriding the implementation in the child class, है ना? Harish, I'm not getting your request of doing a dry run. I mean, what exactly do you want me to do? Because I don't see anything to dry run here. So dog object is there, and if I'm calling the sound function, all it is doing is it's going to the dog class, searching for a sound function implementation and just implementing it. What is there to dry run in it? Link of the nodes I gave it. I'll give you again, right? I'll have to like take away the permission of chat now. Like in some programming languages, we write override keyword, we redefine the how this override. This is that override only, Neil. That's the override that you are talking about. This override is telling the programmer that at this place in the code we have done overriding. Okay, and what is its other advantage? Let's say you don't override. After using the annotation, you do not override. So what will you do? Let's say run. Sorry, run. See the red line here. What does it say? Method does not override method from its superclass. So override annotation is just keeping a check there, whether you are actually overriding or not. Okay, it's not something that you are, that's compulsory for you. It's not a syntactical thing. It's just there for your own benefit, to help you code, to make the code look more intuitive, right? More meaningful. There's nothing fancy here. Essay told super should be written at first line only. That was when you are calling a super constructor, a parent constructor. Otherwise, you can write super anywhere. Not in some cases. I'm not getting your name. So Dinesh and the other person. Only when you are making a call to constructor, inside the constructor, super and this calls are going to take the first line. Only in case of constructor, right? If we write only super, then it will call constructor. Yeah, it will call constructor. So that is a different, you can say, discussion altogether. Super with parenthesis makes a call to the parent constructor, right? That is when you need to make it in the first line and all that. Please tell overriding for variables. That's not overriding, Mohit. Right? Overriding is mainly for methods only. Okay. Where will we get the link of that code? Which code? Ambiguity. I didn't say anything about ambiguity. Okay. I just read a chat from one of your friends. There is no ambiguity here. Okay. Ambiguity matlab confusion. Right? So the point is, what confusion do we have here? If D1 is making a call to sound function, what is the issue in the fact that it's going to the sound function and just implementing that, right? There are two possibilities. It's going to the dog class, checking if there is a sound function. There is a sound function, so it's simply implementing that particular sound function which is present inside the class. If this was not present, अगर sound function नहीं होता, तो ये parent के sound function को call कर लेता, right? Because inheritance की वजह से dog also has access to this particular function, right? And don't write the same message twice. Okay, that's not going to give you a priority, because I read from top to bottom. So if you're writing it again and again, it's not going to help in any way. It's just distracting me. Can I call child class method with parent class object? Let's come to that. Short answer is no, you cannot. Okay, so let's get to that as well. Okay, so he's saying, can I call child class method, let's say run, from an object of animal class? No, you cannot. चाइल्ड को पेरेंट के प्रॉपर्टीज का एक्सेस होता है, पेरेंट को चाइल्ड की प्रॉपर्टी का एक्सेस नहीं होता, राइट? सो एनिमल a1 is equal to new animal, and this is something that you can do on your own as well. So I am doing it just because it's a good question, but yeah, it's a very basic thing. These things you can try out on your own as well. a1 dot run, right? So it will say that I don't know what, cannot resolve run function in animal. So it is saying that I don't see any run function in animal, right? So you don't have access to the child function, which are only declared in the child by using parent class object. Okay. Can we say animal is equal to cat? See, आते कल्पन is also आते. If we change return type, will it give error, or it will still do overriding? So let's try this. Void sound, int sound. Okay. Let's see what it's doing. Sound in this clashes with sound in animal. Attempting to use incompatible return. Let me just remove this annotation also. Even then, see, you are getting this error, right? So this is not allowed. To change the return type while attempting to override is not allowed, right? Because it's what's happening inside Java's compiler is this class has access to this void sound, right? And all it's attempting to do here is it's creating the same function with a different data type. So the error that we are getting is sound in module 2, basically in the dog class, clashes with the sound in animal, attempting to use incompatible return type. Okay, so that's not allowed if you want to achieve overriding, right? Can I just check? Can I call? We will come to it. So if we write only super, then it will call constructor. Yes, let's try overriding for function having some parameter. Same thing only. This is overriding, right? I mean, there's nothing different. I don't know why you are treating it as a different case. Doesn't matter, right? Now is it clear? Basic case of overriding. Is that clear? ठीक है. Cool then. Okay. So okay, we are clear with overriding. So there is one more thing that I want to tell you now. Okay, actually we are getting an error here because I put an integer here. Let me just remove this. Okay, so क्लास के अंदर क्लास बना सकते हैं, पर मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा बिकॉज मैं वो नहीं कर रहा हूं, तो भी इतने डाउट्स हैं, तो आई डोंट वांट टू गो इन दैट डायरेक्शन. दैट्स नॉट समथिंग that we need to cover actually, and I don't want to cause any more confusion. I want to cover the basics first, and then you can keep doing these things. Can you make class inside a class? Yes, you can. Okay. Different overloading and overriding difference. Naeem, I have already explained it, bro. It's very easy. Please. Overloading is done inside the same class. Overriding involves inheritance, right? Can we override static function? Vibhuti asks good question. Let's try this. Okay. But Vibhuti, I'm doing it right now. But the point is, these things you can try on your own also. So let's see what's happening here. Method does not override method from its superclass, right? So even let me just remove it. So static void sound. Yeah. You can do it, but it's not getting registered as overriding. So let's see why. Okay. Static method overriding Java. Can we overload or override? So what it is saying is we can declare those functions, but it's not considered as overriding. Okay. where is that particular statement? अरे यार ये अभी नहीं. Static. For class methods, the method according to type of reference is called not okay. This is something different. This discussion is something different. But the point is, you can do it, but it's not called as overriding. So now my job is to find out why it's not called overriding, right? Can we overload static methods? Override. Can we override static methods in Java? This is your doubt, right? So we can declare static method with same signature in subclass, but it's not considered as overriding, as there won't be any runtime polymorphism. I'll explain what this is. Hence the answer is no. Okay, if a derived class defines a static method with same signature as static method in the base class, method in the derived class is hidden by method in the base class. Okay, let me explain what it means to say here. The point is, can you do it? Yes, you can. Let's try to call the sound function. Let's see what happens. Okay. So you are still getting dog barks. Okay, but it's not getting called as overriding. Let me try to explain you what it meant by runtime polymorphism. Okay. So let's address one more doubt that some of you were asking. Some of you were saying, can we create a child object with reference of parent? Okay, so let me just take that particular question now. Okay, this thing we don't need anymore. Animal A1, reference of parent class. Can we make a child class object using reference of parent class? So now child object means new dog. So this is something that you can do. So basically we can make a child class object using parents reference. So basically reference variable, I told you, right? Reference variable's job is to point out where the particular object is getting stored. Okay, now the point is, A1 says, what does it mean? Animal A1. A1 is a reference variable of the type animal. Okay, so it's like in our earlier discussion I told you, A1 is going to point to objects of animal class. Okay, but the concept here is, this is something new. Okay, if you're getting confused, this is something new. I'm explaining it for the first time, so just listen to it with a fresh mind. In this case, let's just try to understand what's happening here. Dog is also an animal, right? So how Java tries to explain this, or how it is explained, this particular line is explained, is A1 is still pointing to an animal only. Okay, A1 is still pointing to an animal because dog is also an animal. Since dog has inherited from the animal class, dog is also an animal, right? So this kind of statement becomes legal in Java. Okay, A1 is equal to new dog. This is perfectly legal. Now the question of the hour is, if using this reference variable, I want to call the sound function, what will happen? Will I get animal makes sound, or will I get dog barks? So let me remove dog runs for this particular time, right? So this is the scenario that we have. Okay, animal A1 is equal to new dog, object is of the dog, reference variable is of the parent class. The question is, what will happen if I do A1 dot sound? Will I get animal makes sound, or will I get dog barks? Okay, so I'm not expecting an answer from you, because when I read it for the first time, I was very confused, did not understand what it was trying to do. But the solution is, the answer is, let's see what the answer is. Okay, let me not try to ruin the fun. It is still dog barks. Okay, so do you see, you're having a reference of the parent class, but you are making a dog object from it. Then what you are doing there is A1 dot sound. You are calling the sound function using the reference of parent class. Okay, so what it will do is, it will not go to the implementation that is present inside animal class. Okay, the reference is for animal, but A1 is pointing to a dog object. Do you see? You have created a new dog. So A1, even though it is a reference of parent class, is pointing to a dog object. So when you are resolving this, resolving means you remember that error when I tried to do run here. It said that I don't know, I can't resolve what where run function is coming from. So resolving means when it's trying to figure out where to go, which particular implementation I should take. In that case, what will happen? A1, because it's pointing to a dog object, it will take up this particular implementation. Okay, and this kind of scenario is called as dynamic method dispatch. Okay, let me summarize this whole thing for you. One of you asked this question, and I was anyways going to explain this. Can we store a child object with the help of a parent reference? So this is what the person was asking. We tried to code it, it's perfectly legal. Now the next question is, because the reference is of parent, object is of child, what will happen if I do this a1.sound? So the answer to that particular question, as you can see here, dog barks, is that although A1 is a reference of parent, it is pointing to a dog object, which is your child class. So it's going to pick up the implementation from the child class only. When does all this happen? All this happens during runtime, right? Whenever you are using the concept of overriding, it's happening during runtime. So overriding is also called as runtime polymorphism. Okay, I covered a few points here. I'm expecting you would be having doubts. So let me hear if you have any. Okay, I'm enabling the chat again. Okay, if it's clear, write clear. If you have a doubt, ask the doubt. Okay. What if we want to use both this and super? Then which one will come in first line and second line? Dinesh, in case of constructor, you cannot use both. First point. Second point is, inside a method, you can do it in any order, right? So in case of constructor, because this को भी first line में आना है, super को भी first line में आना है, so very good observation. You cannot use this and super at the same time. In a constructor, in a method, you can do anything. चलो क्लियर वाले लोग बहुत अच्छा, but those who are not getting it, why do we assign a parent reference to a child object? So why do we do it? It's more like, can we do it or not? So the answer is yes. And why do we do it? It would be more clear to you when we, okay, so this is not a very good example, but still, if I, because you have asked this question, I will try to explain it. Why do we want to do it? So consider a case when we are dealing at the parent level only, right? When we are dealing at the parent level only. So let's say all the references that we want to make are going to be of parent only. So in that case, you can make parent references, but you can still access different children. Okay, so let's say you want to standardize this. A2 is equal to new cat. Cat is not there, I removed cat, so let me just remove it, right? The point is, because this particular thing is allowed, you can access the child function using the parent reference. Okay, so I have an example in mind, but that's not a very easy example to explain, right? So I'm skipping this question for now, but tell me if what is happening is clear to you or not. Runtime versus compile time, I will explain again. Okay, can we reverse it? So can we make a parent object using a child class reference? So let's try it, if it's allowed or not. D1 is equal to new animal. Okay, so let's see what the error is. You require a dog. Okay, because it's, you can go below only, right? So if you are having a reference of dog, you can't store an animal there, right? So that's the idea, because dog is a more specific thing, right? So Can it happen? No, it can't. Dynamic method dispatch to hide inherit class functionality. I'm not getting what you're saying. Let me disable chat again. Okay, in overriding method is same and declaration is same in both classes. Declaration is same, implementation is different in overriding, right? सर स्टैटिक मेथड को इजीली कॉल कर पा रहे हैं? हाँ मतलब आई एम नॉट गेटिंग योर क्वेश्चन. What happens when dog and animal reverse? Abhishek, I think you got your answer. You are going to get an error. What if he didn't find sound in the dog function? In that case, Kunal, same thing will happen, right? So good question. Let me just explain it to you. Now it's not having any sound function in the dog class. So again, it will come here, right? So that's why it's dynamic dispatch, right? At this point, it doesn't know whether the dog is going to have a sound function or not. So animal में तो है ही, right? So at this point, it does not know कि कौन से sound function पे जाना है. All that calculation happens during runtime. That's why overriding example is runtime polymorphism. Okay. What if we do this for variables? Dog a1 is equal to new animal. What will happen? Out error. Dog d1 error. Dog new animal error. Override in inner class. Not taking this question. Animal a1 is equal to new dog. Dog a1 is equal to... No. That's an error. So a lot of you have asked this question. It's an error only. Address of parent class, but how is it getting pointed to child? So I tried to explain it to you. The idea is animal a1. It's a reference of an animal. But because dog is inheriting from the animal, so in Java, child classes have a relationship with the parent class. Okay. Because whenever we are inheriting, what we are saying is that the child class. So when will you inherit? Like what's the practical scenario? If you have a car, what will you say? BMW extends car. So try to understand what you are saying here. You are saying that I want BMW to have all the features that a car has because BMW is a car. But I will also include certain specific data members and functions with respect to BMW, because although BMW is a car, BMW is a BMW, right? So it will have all the features of a car plus some additional features. Okay, so my point is all the child classes that you are making in Java are actually having a relationship. So if you replace child class with parent class here, what will you get? BMW is a car. Are you getting my point? In this particular scenario, parent class is a more generic implementation, right? It's covering a lot of things. It's covering a lot of items. But when you want to go into specific child, in that case, what is happening is you are going to the specific child, you are defining that particular child's properties, everything is happening, but the bottom line is that particular child is an item of the parent class. I mean, is having a relationship. Okay, so it's a pretty straightforward point. If you don't get it, I can't explain it further. But yeah, child classes have is a relationship with parent class, right? So I told you there's a human class, right? And then you can have a coder class that extends human. You can also have a teacher class that extends human. So what am I trying to do? Coder, teacher, these are some certain specifications, or you can say streamlining of humans, right? Certain types of humans. But all in all, they are all humans only. So what I'm trying to say is, if I try to explain is using a Venn diagram, a larger set is what? Your parent class. But when you want to specify further, when you want to group down further, what you are doing is you are specifying certain properties and then you are getting your child classes. Okay, This is your child class. So do you realize child class, whatever this item is a parent only. This is a very bad representation. What I mean to say is coder is a human, teacher is a human. So that's the kind of relationship your child has with your parent. Why was I explaining that? Because see, when you do animal a1 is equal to new dog, so a1, what you think is a1 should point to an animal. Okay, it is still pointing to an animal only, right? But if you do dog d1 is equal to new animal, d1's job is to point to a dog. But when you say is equal to new animal, that's actually absurd. Why? Because animal is not a dog. Are you trying to get the sense of it? What I'm trying to say there. So it's, don't try to think it in terms of code. You will only get confused. Think it in explanation terms. Okay, because that's what happens in Java. What we are dealing here with is what functionalities does Java provide. Okay, this is a common interview question, whether or not it is possible, right? That's why we are covering it. That's why we are trying to understand as much as possible what's going on with this one, right? And if you give this kind of explanation saying a1 is supposed to point to an animal, it is still pointing to an animal only. Dog is also an animal. Your job is done. That is the only thing you are supposed to understand. Okay, so don't try to go into much of implementation, much at the implementation level, because even if I try to explain it to you, it will only make it more confusing. Okay, if we call directly with class name without creating object, which sound function will execute? No sound function will execute. It's not a static it's not a static function, right? Void is sound is not a static function. Let me, animal label is equal to new dog. Then why do we do this? Because dog d1 is equal to new dog, ये तो हम करेंगे. Your question should have been why are we doing animal a1 is equal to new dog, right? So why we are doing the practical implementation of that, giving you an example that will actually make sense. That's difficult at this point, right? But the point is, I just wanted to explain one thing to you. If you are doing this, the choice of method is going to be decided at runtime. And I just wanted you to get familiar with the dynamic method dispatch thing. Okay, so only focus on that if that thing is clear to you. Okay, because none of your doubts are related to what I just explained. It's either here or there. I get it. It's perfectly fine to get such doubts, but it's not relevant at this time. And if I go on explaining that into further depths, others are going to get confused, right? So if you still have any doubt, you can raise hand and we can close this concept once and for all, right? Yeah, Rishabh, go ahead. And once your doubt is over, please make sure you are lowering your hand. And if you're raising your hand, please make sure you are having microphone to speak, because I unmuted Rishabh and he's still not speaking. This is something we can't afford in a running class, right? That's why someone complained in Discord today that you did not take my doubt. This is why I could not, right?
हेलो सर.
Yeah, go ahead, Ashwin. Ashwin.
हेलो
हाँ.
सर. मतलब एनिमल का दूसरा चाइल्ड क्लास भी हो सकता है, और अपने अपने क्लास का भी, कैट का भी ऐसे ही किया तो फिर किसके साउंड को कॉल करेगा वो?
कैट का साउंड को करेगा, है ना?
नहीं, एनी डॉग का भी रहने दो और कैट को भी करो.
नहीं, डॉग के लिए डिपेंड कर रहा है ना कि वो किसके ऑब्जेक्ट को पॉइंट कर रहा है. देखो, एनिमल a2 is equal to new cat. cat है नहीं, मैं cat बनाता हूँ अभी, right? So if you have, let me just uncomment all this. Class cat extends animal. Okay, void sound again. Okay. So now if you say a2 is this, a2 dot sound, what will happen? Cat meows, right? Because which object is it pointing to? It's pointing to the cat object, right? So just tell me if what's happening is clear to you, right? Parent class is universal set and child class is subset. Exactly. That's what it is, right? If I change in the parent class, child class extends the parent class. It will also change the child as well. So this is not good for this. See, it will change the implementation for child also, but only if you are not having a particular implementation here. For example, if I come to this particular function and make some changes here, dog will not be affected because dog is having a sound implementation of its own, right? नहीं, overriding के benefits I told you, right? This is a sound function. You can have a specific implementation of sound that is pertaining to dog, right? That is specific to dog. आपके सामने है ना overriding का benefit. In the sound function of animal, it's saying animal makes sound. In case of dog, when you are writing the sound function, it's saying dog barks. So it's going at a more specific level, right? Animal अपनी properties को access कर सकता है. Yes. What's the doubt there? Overriding के benefits I told you. Okay. So now just tell me if it's clear what I am trying to explain. Okay. Let me unmute Abhishek. Yeah, Abhishek, go ahead.
सर मैंने एक क्वेश्चन पोस्ट किया है, मुझे वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा. लाइक आप कह रहे हैं कि एनिमल A1 इक्वल्स टू न्यू डॉग करेंगे, दैट इज राइट. इट विल बी एक्सेसिंग पेरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट इज एक्सेसिंग इट्स चाइल्ड.
पेरेंट का रेफरेंस है, ठीक है. ये
पेरेंट का
जो वेरिएबल एड्रेस बताता है वो पेरेंट टाइप का है, ठीक है.
पर वो सेम थिंग है कि डॉग D1 इज इक्वल्स टू न्यू डॉग होगा तो एरर क्यों होगा?
अबे डॉग D1 इज इक्वल टू न्यू डॉग में एरर नहीं है. डॉग D1 इज इक्वल टू न्यू एनिमल में एरर है. नहीं,
एनिमल में तो खैर एरर होगा ही, क्योंकि
अरे तो डॉग D1 इज इक्वल टू
क्लास को एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते.
डॉग D1 इज इक्वल टू न्यू डॉग में कहां एरर है भाई?
मैंने यही तो पहले पूछा था, आपने कहा कि एरर है, तो इसीलिए पूछ रहा हूँ क्यों और कैसे.
लाइन से वो सारे मैसेजेस होंगे इसलिए मैंने बोल दिया होगा, क्योंकि सब लोग क्या पूछ रहे थे, डॉग D1 इज इक्वल टू न्यू एनिमल कर सकते हैं क्या? वो नहीं कर सकते. ये तो करते ही आ रहे हैं हम लोग. ये क्वेश्चन ही क्यों पूछ रहे हो?
मेरे को पूछना इसमें बेसिकली ये है कि अगर हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं तो हम डॉग का D2 ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों क्रिएट करेंगे? व्हाई नॉट वी ऑलवेज मेक रेफरेंस ऑफ एनिमल A1, animal A2 will equals to new dog, animal A3 equals to new cat. Why can't we do that instead of doing dog D2 is equals to new dog, cat C2 is equals to new cat? Why we'll do that? ऐसा हम करते क्यों?
This is something I will have to search for, because as of now I am not getting any limitation to this thing, right? So why we are doing this when we can do this always, right?
Yes, sir.
So there must be some limitation to this. That's why we are doing it, right? One thing that's coming to my mind, that's not a very solid answer, but it is that this kind of implementation is more intuitive, right? But why can't we always do this? So is there some limitation? So the question basically becomes, is there some limitation to implementing it like this, that we are also?
अगर आप ऐसा कह रहे हैं कि जिस हिसाब से आप कह रहे हैं कि लाइन नंबर 7 डॉग D2 इंप्लीमेंट करने में इजी पड़ेगा, तो मेरे को लगता है कि लाइन 6 एनिमल एनिमल को डिफाइन करना मेरे लिए इजी रहेगा, क्योंकि जब भी हम इस चीज को डिफाइन कर रहे हैं तो मेरे लिए क्या बेसिक है कि मेरा एक पेरेंट क्लास है ऑलरेडी, तो आई एम कॉलिंग अ पेरेंट क्लास एज अ रेफरेंस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इट्स ऑब्जेक्ट, एंड आई एम कॉलिंग व्हाटएवर इट्स चाइल्ड क्लास इज. तो वहां मुझे अलग से चाइल्ड क्लास को कॉल करके फिर चाइल्ड क्लास का कंस्ट्रक्टर को हम का फंक्शन को कंस्ट्रक्टर को कॉल करके उसका हम उसको एग्जीक्यूट करें.
नहीं, कंस्ट्रक्टर तो चाइल्ड क्लास का ही कॉल होगा इस केस में भी. ऑब्जेक्ट किसका क्रिएट हो रहा है? डॉग का ना. डॉग इज चाइल्ड क्लास.
डॉग का आप क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. तो मेरे को डॉग का रिक्वायरमेंट ही क्यों हो रहा है जब हम पहले ही पेरेंट के रेस्पेक्ट में एक्सेस कर ही रहे हैं, जब हम पेरेंट को ही बना
डॉग
ही
तो
रहे
मेरे को
हैं।
चाहिए ही है ना, रेफरेंस एनिमल का ले लिया, डॉग तो डॉग इज अ डिफरेंट एंटिटी ऑन इट्स ओन. I anyways want a dog, right? I anyways want dog because dog is extending an animal, but dog की खुद की भी तो कुछ properties होंगी ना, which are different from animal. फिर तो अगर ये डाउट है तो क्वेश्चन ऐसा बन जाएगा कि डॉग क्लास ही क्यों बना रहे हैं, राइट? डॉग क्लास क्यों बना रहे हैं? बिकॉज वी वांट सर्टेन स्पेसिफिक इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस इवन आफ्टर सेइंग दैट डॉग इज एन एनिमल, उसमें और भी कुछ ऐड करना है हमें. दैट इज व्हाट विल मेक अ डॉग different from the animal. Your question is, why are we not always doing it like this? A1 is equal to new dog, A2 is equal to new cat, right? Why are we not doing it like this? So there must be some limitation to this, because of which we, generally declare it like this. Dog D1 is equal to new dog, right? So that is something that I will have to look at, because I'm not having a concrete answer for it. ठीक है? कहाँ गया? Right, Abhishek? You are unmute. You can say yes or no.
Sir, actually power shut it down, so I didn't hear it.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ your question. I will get back to you on this one, right? Animal A1 is equal to new dog. You are saying, why do we, if we can do this, why do we not do it always, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Because I feel it's easy to understand, like
let's put it on hold.
calling a parent reference with respect to the child constructor.
ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. So let's search for it together. Okay, let's discuss it. Tomorrow we don't have a class. Let's discuss it in the next class. Okay.
Okay,
So,
sir.
as of now, I don't see any limitation to this. So let's try to find out if there is any limitation to this particular implementation as compared to dog D1 is equal to new dog, right?
Okay, sir.
ठीक है. Okay. Cool then. So let's move on from this, because again, 100% of you are never clear with it. So there is some time foundation that we will have to look after. But still, my main question has still not been answered. Do you understand what is happening here? If I just remove this, do you understand dynamic method dispatch? The fact that when we create an object of child, store it in a reference of parent, and make a function call like this. So this function call is resolved at runtime, and which implementation does it go to? It goes to the implementation of what? The child class. Okay, so this is what I have been trying to explain from the past, again 1 hour as usual. Is this clear? है ना? ठीक है? Cool then. So Abhishek's question I will answer it in the next class. But yeah, other than that, if everything is clear, let's move on to the other concept, that is encapsulation, right? So okay, so again, before beginning with this or any other concept, the point is, if you are having other doubts other than the concept that is being explained, please hold that for now. Okay, it's not a very practical ask. तुम लोग बोलोगे अगर अभी नहीं पूछेंगे तो कब पूछेंगे, right? But the point is, with the different kind of people in class, some are not getting the basic concepts, some are getting it and moving on to the higher one. So for those who want to move on to the higher one, I would request you to do some research on your own as well. Because if I go and go into depth of those questions, some questions are strictly out of scope, so I just reject those altogether. But as far as the different things are considered, first focus on telling me if that particular thing is clear to you or not, the question that I'm asking, then move on and ask the other questions. Because what you guys are currently doing is, I tell you a particular concept, I ask you if this particular thing is clear, what we are discussing, then you start asking new questions. At that point, I'm confused whether you got it or not. So first tell me if that particular concept is clear, and then you can ask your separate doubts. If I know it, I will tell you. If it is out of scope, I will tell you. If it is easy, I will ask you to Google it. If I don't know it, I will get back to you in the next class. Okay, so when I'm asking a particular question, answer that only. कि ये समझा क्या, ये जो 4 लाइन स्क्रीन पे लिखी हैं, so answer for those 4 lines. Okay, so that we can move on. And operator overloading, not a part of OOP, right? Okay, so let me take the permission away for chat. Cool. So encapsulation is yet another pillar of OOP. What does encapsulation say? So when you store the related information together, right? When you store related data members basically the members storing data, it's variables only, right? And methods together. So when you are storing the related data members and methods together, that comes under encapsulation, right? So basically it's not something different from what we have been doing so far, right? Encapsulation covers that particular aspect of OOP which deals with how you are creating files, what classes you are creating, where you are putting a particular function, right? So encapsulation's idea is that if you have 4 related functions, it's better to put it in the same class or under the same umbrella so that it becomes intuitive enough कि अगर मेरे को इस टाइप की फंक्शनैलिटी अचीव करनी है, so where in my 1000 files would this particular code be kept, right? So coming again, a very basic example of encapsulation is something that we have been doing, right? For example, if I take dog's example, dog has a function of making sound and running, right? So these are two related functions that I have captured together, and where have I placed those functions? I have placed those under the dog class. So that's also an example of encapsulation. Okay, so in a very basic way, that's what encapsulation is. Taking different items, grouping them together based on their relation, and that's it. So basically the classes that we have been making now so far, from our first OOP lecture to this particular OOP lecture, all this is an example of encapsulation only, right? And encapsulation you will be able to appreciate when we will study linked list next. So what will happen is I will make a linked list class, right? Inside that I will make different functions, right? Insert into linked list, delete from a linked list, search in a linked list, do this, do that, all those functions in a linked list. So because those are all functions related to a linked list, where will I keep them? I will keep them all inside the linked list class. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the similar functions, packaging them together inside a particular class, keeping them together in a same class. Then let's say, this is a broad example I'm giving. You have different data structures, right? Linked list, stack, queue, whatever. So these are all data structures. So these are all related files. Where will I keep them? I will keep them all together, maybe under a package named data structures, right? So when you are making this logical grouping, so all you are doing is encapsulation has to do with how you are placing different functions in your code and how you are placing different classes in your packages. So how you are managing the whole structure, that comes under encapsulation. So a very basic example is packaging in terms of class. So you take a class, you declare similar functions together, and that's an example of encapsulation. The important part that we cover in our discussion that comes under encapsulation is access modifiers. Okay, there are different variables, there are different not variables, there are different variables and methods, everything, right? And all of those can have different level of access. Okay, so to give you a context, let me first explain what a package is. What a package is, right? Inside Java, what does a package mean? So all of you have been asking this question since lecture 1. That is why I kind of discourage you from asking this, because this is something that we are covering in lecture 4, something that you were asking in lecture 1, right? Asking once is fine, but asking again and again, even after I have said no to you, that's something I don't understand. If it is supposed to be covered, I will cover it, right? Just have that faith. What is a package? So package in Java file structure is similar to the folders that we have in our Windows, right? You have folders in your particular desktop everywhere. So in such a like in a similar manner, you have packages inside Java. So what can a package have inside it? It can have a sub package, or it can have a Java file directly, right? Java file मतलब .java वाली files है ना, right? What do you have inside a folder? You can either have a subfolder, or you can directly have your files, right? So that's how you do it. In when I was a kid, what I used to do inside my computer was make a folder for songs. I think every one of us has done it. Make a folder for songs. Inside that, I used to write Hindi and maybe let's say Punjabi or English. I don't listen to English songs, but let me just try and act cool here. So inside Hindi, what we will try to do is some category saying Sonu Nigam, Arijit Singh, and this thing. And inside Hindi songs, what I used to do was when I could not categorize any the songs further, I used to place it directly inside the Hindi folder. So, I mean, I didn't need to give this example. All of you understand that a folder can have a folder and some files, but I'm just trying to make it relatable for you guys that inside a folder, I used to have certain folders and then I used to have certain files directly, right? Why did I take this particular example? Because here also I'm just categorizing. I'm trying to put similar things together, right? Hindi गाने अलग कर दिए English से, and then in Hindi I have categorized based on the singer, and for some songs that maybe I don't know the singers for, I have just kept it here, right? Similarly, in case of Java, you have a package. Inside that, you may have a sub package, or you can directly have a Java file which will have classes and their implementation inside it, right? So is the package structure clear to you? It's similar to what we have in the folder structure, right? जो हम folders को देखते हैं अपने यहाँ पे in a package in Java's case that's called as a package. So it's same as a folder. A package is similar to a folder, right? इसमें अगर doubt है तो I can't do anything because there is nothing more simple than this, है ना? Okay, but in Java, the parallel that you have for a folder, you have a package. What's the difference between a package and a folder? Here you have a property, or you can say the freedom of controlling access. Right, so that's why I was telling you there are different kind of access that you can that you can give, right? So for example, if you don't want to share something with other packages or with other classes, so based on all that stuff, you are having different access specifiers or access modifiers that we are going to study within encapsulation, because it's just a part of encapsulation only, right? Encapsulation is telling you how to structure your different files, how to group it together, how to group similar functions together, all that stuff. Inside that, controlling the access for those functions and data members is also your job, right? So that's something we need to study inside encapsulation. When encapsulation in itself is just a small definition, right? So what are the different type of access specifiers? That is what we are going to study today. Okay, so the first one that you all know about is what? Is public access modifier. Okay, public class, public constructor, all that stuff we used to do, right? Now I'm going to explain you what public is. Okay, so if you see this structure, right, what I have done here is module 2 September. This is a package, and how we name packages is we write it in the small case letters only, right? So that's something that we do. Inside this package, I want to make a sub package, so that's allowed to me. Okay, so let me call it sub package or sub pkg, right? I want to create another sub package, so that's also possible, right? I'm just explaining you that you can do all this stuff. Okay, now what I want to do is at the same level as module 2, I want to create another package. Okay, so because I want to demonstrate you certain functionalities, that what will happen if I try to access code of one particular package in a different package. So that is also something I want to show you. That's why for that reason I have created a package 3. Okay, so that's something I want to show you. Okay, let me just rename it package 2, right? PKG. Okay, anyways, so First, let's talk about the public access modifier. Okay, so when you declare a particular class or a particular data member or a particular function as public, what it means is you can use it anywhere inside the class, outside the class, inside the same package, outside the package also. So basically, if you declare something as public, it is available to be used by the public. It is available to be accessed by everyone. Okay, so I'm going to take this example. This is your package module 2 and this is another package P3, right? So this is package P3 and what I've done here is, so this is what I was trying to do before class today. This was dynamic method dispatch example. Anyways, this is a different package, right? P3. So what I want to show you now is, this is a test class I have created and let me create another class, right? For this one, new Java class, you can make it like this. So what I want to show you is demo for public, right? So I've created a class public demo and what I'm doing here is, see, public int a, right? And let's create public void fun function, right? And fun inside, what is this class? Module 2 September dot this public demo. So I'm just trying to tell you that this is a fun function inside module 2 September package and public demo file. Okay, this is the fun function inside this particular file, right? This is the implementation and this is your public thing. So now what you can definitely do here is, let's go to the same package. So module 2 only. So this is module 2 September and let me just copy paste this to explain dynamic method dispatch, right? Okay, cool. So this we can get rid of. This I don't need anymore. Okay, so what I want to show you is, we are inside module 2 September package and here also we are inside module 2 September package, right? So first thing that I want to show you is, inside the package, outside the class, you can use it. Okay, so I'm going to a different class, OOP fun, and I'm still inside the same package module 2 September. So what I will do is, I will try to create an object for that public demo class and I will try to access its variables. Okay, so public demo p1 is equal to new public demo. So p1 dot a is equal to 5 and I'm just going to print that particular value. What is it? P1 dot a and then p1 dot fun. Okay, so all I want to show you is, within the same package I'm able to create an object, make this particular implementation, right? Print system.out.println, have p1.fun, all these stuff, right? So if I run this, this is what you have been doing so far, right? अगर आप ध्यान से याद करो, module 2 September, same package only. Inside this I was making classes, right? Class this, class student, class home, class A, class Y, same package. And I used to come inside this different class and उसके बाद मैं ऐसे करके declare कर देता था, right? So this is something that you have been doing already, right? Same package, you have public variables. कहाँ गया? You have public variables and you can access it. So that's fine. There is nothing to showcase here. The true power of public comes if I can show you that you can access these variables outside the package also. Okay, so that let me just demonstrate it to you guys. Okay, and this is done. Okay, so let me this is module 2 September. This is the different package, right? So this is public class public demo. Okay, so if I do that, public demo p1 is equal to new public demo, right? So I am able to make an object of this particular class because object created outside package, because it was a public class. Okay, object created outside package because it was a public class. First thing. Now let me see if I can access that particular variable p1.a is equal to 5. You can just print this variable now and p1.fun. Okay, still no errors, and you will get the same output as 5 and that print statement that we had inside this function, right? So same output. My point behind all this explanation was, when you declare any particular class, data member, method as public, you don't need to care about where you are using it, because it will be accessible everywhere. Okay, is this part clear to you? And if you have a doubt, obviously tell me what's the doubt. है ना? Yeah, Misbah, go ahead.
No, sir. I didn't lower the hand. It was earlier told.
Okay. अभी तक सब clear?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Why we have only one public class? So Mohit, if you remember, I explained it in the first class. So you can only have one public class in one file. Okay, because that's how Java understands it, right? Inside one file, dummy.java is one file. Inside this file, you can only have one public class, and its name should be same as the Java file. Okay. Import. Okay, so you guys don't know what import is. Basically, importing, like what we do in import is we import Java files, right? That we want to use within our particular file. So what we want to do here is, oh sorry, this we don't really need this here. This was from before. Okay, yeah. As far as this public demo is considered, so what we want to do is package. When we were in the same package, we did not need any import statement. Why? Because within the same package, it directly has access to that particular file. Okay, but as soon as you change the package, what happens is you will now have to inform that I want to use public demo class from that particular package. Okay, so I want to use this particular file from module 2 September package. You can also do something like this, replace the class name with an asterisk. What it means is module 2 dot asterisk, it means import all the files from module 2 September. Okay, but we don't need all the files. We can just get our job done with the public demo class. So that's why we need to import it. We can use it, but we need to import it. Okay, that's the point. So thanks for pointing it out. It's a small thing that you need to take care of, but yeah, the point is still the same. You are able to access these items because it is public, right? Can I do so by not importing? No. Suman, you will have to import it. Okay. Package P3 once again. So Naeem, what do you want me to explain? That's my question always. Once again, I can't go around explaining everything once again, right? You can raise your hand. You can ask a specific doubt. Sir, if the variable or function is public but class is not public, can we have access in other package? Bibhoti, in that case, you will not be able to create the object in the first place. ठीक है? Variable को तो छोड़ ही दो. Is it necessary to make public class inside the Java file? Yes, it is compulsory to make one public class, right? So if you remove this from here, okay, you don't have an error. Why? Let's see if it runs. Okay, it runs. So I take my words back. Let me come back again. Is it compulsory to make a public class? No, as we can see here. But if you make a public class, this is what is compulsory. If you make a public class, that class's name should be same as the Java file name. Okay, so sorry for saying that it's compulsory to make a public class. You can get your job done without making a public class as well. Right, so it's not compulsory. For access in another package, we need to use import. If we declare a class public, Do we also need to make its data members as public? So, yeah, Diptindu, yes, I will demonstrate that you need to do it. Otherwise, you will not be able to access. What if we do public static? Then can we be public static? Yeah, then also. Package P3, packages folder and module is file. Module is file. Where is module? Module 2 is package only, right? Java file, these .java files are your files. Okay. How can we import a public class of another package from a subpackage of another package? So in that case also, so what you are saying is, if I make a class here, right? So in that case also, if you want to use this particular class, let me keep it empty only, right? So you want to create an object for demo. So see, you declare the whole address, right? Module 2 September dot subpackage 1 dot demo. Okay. So that's how it works, right? Can we define any class public? You cannot define every class public. You can only have one public class in a Java file whose name should be same as the file name. It is possible to have no public class at all. है ना? Public allows access across packages. So what Tushar is saying is one line explanation of the public access specifier. Public allows access across packages. Okay. So let me even write it down. So public, what it does is inside package, then you have outside package, then you also have this third thing, inside class. Right. So inside package, outside package, inside class, all is allowed, right? In case of public. So let me address this person's doubt who said, what if I make the class public, but I don't have these items as public? See, you see one related problem has come up. If I go to this dummy, now you cannot access the variable A again and see what the error message says. A is not a public, is not public in this particular class, so cannot access from outside the package. Do you see this? How detailed and beautiful this error message is, explaining everything. I don't have to take the pain of explaining it separately to you. Is it clear what it is saying? I have taken the chat permission away from you. Let me just allow you again. Right? Is it clear? Similarly, same error here also. And fun function also you can't access because fun is no longer public inside the particular class, so you cannot access from outside package. Okay? So whichever thing you want to access, you will have to make it public. From if you want to access it from outside the package. यहाँ पे देखो आप, यहाँ पे it would not be showing any error. So public demo p1 is equal to new public demo, right? p1 dot a is equal to 5. So I can keep on doing this, but as you can see at this step only, it's not showing you any error because you are still inside the same package. As soon as you cross the boundary of a package, you need to have your items declared as public to be used freely. So if we don't import the package, a public class cannot be accessed from another class from a different package. Yeah. To use it, you will have to import the package, right? That's a number one rule. And even if you import the package and your class is also public, you cannot access the data members that are not explicitly declared as public. Class public हो सकती है, उसके अंदर के data members भी public होने पड़ेंगे if you want to access those data members. Okay, so class public, that only allows you to create an object of class because the class is public. You will not be able to access these particular entities because आपने उसकी public वाली characteristic change ली, right? It's no longer public, right? So let me just mention that again, right? So this I can just copy paste for your reference, right? Use of public. Where is it? Dummy, right? Yeah. I copied the whole thing, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. This thing is an example of what? Is an example of the public access modifier, right? ठीक है, let me just make it closer. Yeah, cool. So if I come back here, is public clear to you now? You can take a 5 minutes break. Okay, you deserve it. Come back at 10:08. Okay, can you please explain the difference between a module and package? There is nothing called as module. I never explained anything called as a module. Okay, we can access one package. So don't get confused with module. There is nothing by the name of module here. We can access one package to another. Yes, Divansh. So by default they are private. I don't know what private is. Okay. By default, what are they? I will tell you in a while. But they are not private. What is the use of package? So it's used for organizing, right? You have a package, then you have similar files together, and if you want to make something different, some different file, you will go to another package, right? So do you remember this thing? Import java.util.star, right? Sorry, my bad. Import java.util.lang.star, right? All these items that you had, package line needs to come at the top, right? That's why we are getting these errors. Okay, so all these imports that you used to do, what are they? Java, the main package, utility, the sub package, and dot star means you want to import all the files that are present inside this address, right? Package, sub package, import all the files. Package, sub package, import all the files. So this is something that we have all been doing, but we didn't know what we are doing it, right? So that is something I wanted to explain to you, right? You can take, guys, you can take a break. You can come at 10:08, right? We can access one package from another using public. Yes, sir. Anmol, you can ask your doubts if you feel that I am running fast. You can always ask doubts, right? Yeah,
Hello.
Yeah, Chirag.
सर मेरा डाउट ये था कि जैसे आपने मॉड्यूल 2 सितंबर नाम से जो पैकेज बनाया था, इसमें हम अगर एक वेरिएबल पब्लिक वेरिएबल बनाते हैं और उसकी वैल्यू 5 देते हैं और किसी और पैकेज में उस वेरिएबल की वैल्यू को चेंज करते हैं, तो हम अगर किसी थर्ड पैकेज में उसको यूज करेंगे वेरिएबल को। हेलो।
हाँ, बोलो।
सर मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि अगर हम किसी थर्ड पैकेज में उस वैल्यू को यूज करेंगे
तो
वो बाय डिफॉल्ट कौन सी वैल्यू प्रिंट करेगा?
जो ओरिजिनल क्लास में डिक्लेयर्ड है 5, बिकॉज हाउ आर यू चेंजिंग दिस वैल्यू? यू आर चेंजिंग दिस वैल्यू बाय क्रिएटिंग एन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ दिस क्लास, राइट? अब एक बार में तो आप ऑब्जेक्ट एक ही पैकेज में बनाओगे ना, राइट? And when you are creating your object in that second package, let's say third package में आपको A को यूज करने के लिए फिर से नया ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा। तो जो पैकेज 2 में हुआ, यानी कि the second package, that's not accessible to the third package ना। Third package, fourth package, 10th package, they will all have access to the original value. A is equal to 5 सबको पता है, because that is present, that declaration is present inside the class, but they don't know anything that happened in a separate package. ठीक है? So yeah, Bharat, go ahead.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Great. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir, in polymorphism, you told that you explain compile time and runtime in the end.
Huh?
I'm asking that, sir.
Okay.
Can you explain what's the compile time and runtime?
Overloading is compile time polymorphism. Okay. Because when your code is getting compiled, at that time only Java decides which particular implementation it's going to take. In case of overriding, what happens is this this resolving the function that which particular implementation will be picked is checked at the runtime after the code is compiled. So that's why it's simply called as runtime polymorphism. Okay. So that's the only thing. There is nothing other than that.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
So one extra thing that I explained was dynamic method dispatch, which is happening at runtime only. So that happens when you take a parent reference, point it to a child object. In that case, that allocation happens at runtime, and that special case is dynamic method dispatch, right? It has to think at that time at runtime which particular method it's going to take, है ना? So it's like a dynamic method dispatch is an example of runtime polymorphism. You can say that. Okay, and overriding comes inside runtime polymorphism. Compile time overloading, runtime overriding. Overriding is the one in which we were overriding the function definition from parent, है ना? Okay, I didn't get an answer from you, but ठीक है. All these things will become more clear with practice. So
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
okay, great. Just get the basic idea at this point. Baki, it will all get more clear later. Yeah, Misbah, go ahead.
Sir, is it a good practice to import all the files of a certain package
So okay,
on a
so,
software development level,
so
or certain files or particular specific files?
see, the idea is it's pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. You only need, in our limited case here, you only need public demo class, right?
Yes.
If you had imported all the classes, what's happening is it's going to take some time, right? आप classes import करते हो, any step that you do consumes some time, right? So what generally in all the tutorial videos and everywhere there you where you go, it is recommended that you only import classes that you need. Okay, and by the virtue of these very high level IDEs, it is possible, because what we do is, आपने देखा मैंने import statement नहीं लिखा खुद से. I wrote public demo p1. As soon as I pressed is equal to new, all that stuff, it automatically got there, right? So that's why it is recommended to only import files that we are going to use, because it saves time. We are not
Yeah, that's what
unnecessarily.
I'm asking, sir. Like on a larger scale, it will make your software slow or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So generally this is the preferred way. Only import the file that you need. But because we are at the learning stage, we don't want to go to the hassle of thinking which particular file we need. So we import everything, right?
So like,
and for
if
that particular case, it doesn't matter.
sir, if in interviews we import all the files, it will be okay. They will not
No.
deduct marks on
They will
that basis.
they will not deduct marks. But you should know the difference, that what happens if you write star and what happens if you import the particular file. So if you want to
Yeah,
import a particular file,
yeah.
just name it. Star means all the files inside this package. Okay.
Sir, one more problem. That problem that you have said you will answer tomorrow. Dynamic method dispatch problem. Sir, I was thinking like that guy said why we are creating a child class reference variable if we can access
Why do we need that? Yeah.
parent class. Yeah, sir, I was thinking because from parent class reference variable we can only access the objects, the member variables or member methods of child class, right? And if we want to access some method from parent class and if we don't override it, we will not able to use that in
नहीं, we will be able to use it. I demonstrated that. आप ये
Without
बोलते ना कि
overriding, sir.
मेरे पेरेंट क्लास में साउंड फंक्शन है, ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
चाइल्ड क्लास में नहीं है. ओके.
No.
और मैंने ऐसा बना दिया कि एनिमल a1 इज इक्वल टू न्यू डॉग. तो आप बोलो कि a1 डॉट साउंड करने पे मेरे को पेरेंट वाला साउंड नहीं मिलेगा, ऐसा बोल रहे हो क्या?
Yes, sir.
मिलेगा. Try to check it. I ran it in the today's class. Maybe you missed it, but we will get it. That's why I said I'm not getting any practical drawback of this idea. So the reason why we use that particular thing is maybe there is a drawback of this idea, or maybe Java wants to give us the flexibility of using both, right? There is no specific reason as such. That can also be a thing. Sometimes we overthink.
Please show us like by doing it.
Sorry. Once again.
No, like please access a parent class a function or variable through the reference variable of parent class by making object of a child class.
We can do that. You can try it also. I've even pasted it in the code somewhere, so you can try it.
Okay, I will.
Pretty straightforward. I mean, judging by your questions, I know you can, you understand what you are asking and you will be able to implement it. So don't worry. It is
One more
possible.
thing, sir.
Huh.
That static member function didn't get override in the child class.
So the idea there is, so when you see, overriding is associated with runtime polymorphism. Okay, technically speaking. So the explanation that we read on GFG, it said when you declare a function as static, you will no longer need objects to call that particular function.
Created, yes, sir.
Okay? So you will directly call it by class name. और जब आप क्लास नेम डॉट फंक्शन नेम कॉल करोगे तब तो सारा रन टाइम पे कुछ नहीं रिजॉल्व हो रहा ना, वो तो कंपाइल टाइम पे समझ आ जाएगा उसको कौन से फंक्शन पे जाना है, राइट?
That's why it will not be.
It's not called as overriding. It is allowed, but it is not called as overriding. Okay.
So no name conflict will not occur because
No. Not an error. It is allowed.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. I think we will have to start. Others, just please, you can like keep your hands raised only. I will come back to you, but maybe not at this time, right? Okay. So coming back to our discussion, public can be accessed from anywhere across packages. Okay, na? That's the point. Now let's go to the other extreme. There is one public which you can access anywhere, inside package, inside class, outside package, outside the world, anywhere. But opposite of public is private. Okay, so let's declare this particular item as private, right? So I don't want it to get used anywhere, so I'm calling it as a private, right? It's giving me an error because I'm trying to use it here, so let me just remove the usage here. Okay, so the point is, as you saw, we just got an error. You cannot use it outside the package. Okay, so this thing is gone for private. This thing is gone outside the package. Let's see if we can access it inside the package or not. That's the main thing, right? So if I come back to this oopfun, I'm already getting an error. See, public demo p1 is equal to new public demo. That's fine. And even you could make the object in the different package also, because class in itself is public. So object aap bana pa rahe ho, but you are not able to use that particular variable. Similarly, inside the same package, you are able to make the object because class is public. But let's see, can we access this variable using that particular object? Okay, so p1, can I access p1.a? That's what I want to say. See, a has private access in module in public demo class, so you cannot access it here. Okay. So do you see, outside the class, even inside package, you are not able to use it. Okay, so inside package, no. And let me also show you a very specific example. Even inside package, what I want to do is, see, I am saying that my class extends public demo. Okay, and then I am creating this particular thing. Okay. So what I'm doing is, see, listen carefully. oopfun extends public demo class. When a class extends another class, it gains right to that particular variable. मतलब अगर मैं oopfun का object बनाऊं, it should be allowed access to the a variable in a normal scenario. Let's see if that is possible or not. Okay, so oopfun o1 is equal to new oopfun, right? Let's see if I can access .a. See, this is a very specific example. I mean, I cannot access it in the same module, in the same package. I got it, but I tried a special case that if I try to extend that particular class, can I use the variable inside the child class also? No. So are you seeing this other extreme? You are trying, this is a particular class where private member has been declared. You are trying to access it. You are trying to establish a relationship as close as possible. You are making a child class, but even inside that you are not able to access this particular item. Do you see this? So private means you cannot access that variable anywhere except, let me just remove these things, not needed anymore, except here only. So if I write this fun function, and I just for clarity I'm using this variable here, you can only use this private variable inside the class itself. Okay, so you can use this variable only inside the class, only inside the same class in which you have made private variable. Do you understand this? You are able to access that particular variable only inside that particular class, nothing more than that, right? Is it clear to you? How private is just opposite of public. Private means you cannot access it anywhere. Public means you can access it anywhere, right? Can and cannot वाला difference देख रहे हो आप? You can only access it within the class. ठीक है? So if it's clear, maybe we can move on, right? So this is clear to us. Now there are certain cases where what we want to do is we don't have access to this particular variable, right? So there are certain cases when we do need access to private variables. Okay, variable private hai, but I need access to it. Okay, so just to give you an understanding, I'm trying to tell you this. There are certain functions called as getters and setters. Okay, so you cannot get the value of this directly. आप directly access नहीं कर पा रहे, right? If you did a public demo, you are not able to access it like this. If you do this, you are getting an error, right? p1.a, let's say, is equal to 5. ये करने में error आ रहा है. But what can you do? You can use it inside the same class, right? You can use it inside the same class. Can I make a function? So I have a function inside it, right? Inside this function, I am able to use this variable. Similarly, can I make an integer function int get a? What is its job going to be? Do you understand this? What I am doing here? Let me make it a public function. So what I have done is, this is a private variable, but how I am able to access it is, I am able to access it using a function called get a. Okay. So do you see? This is a workaround. It's a private variable, but I want to get the value, so this is how I'm doing it. Right? Similarly, public void set a. Right? You want to set a particular value for a, so accept that particular integer and set the value. Right? So what you are doing is, to set the value, you are passing a value from outside, somewhere outside, and then you are assigning it to the a. Okay. So let me demonstrate what we are doing here. You can't access it directly like this because access is prohibited. But what you can do is p1 dot set the value for a as 5. I think it's already 5, so let's declare something else. It's already 5, right? So let's set the value as 10. Okay, let's do a print and say p1 dot get a. So what I'm trying to do here is, I am getting the value of a before I set it as 10, and I'm going to get the value again. Let's see what happens in this scenario. Okay, so let me try to explain to you first, and then we will see if our explanation matches the output. Okay, created an object printing this thing, calling get a function. Okay, get a function, what does get a do? It just returns the value of a variable. Okay, so it will just give you the value of a, which is currently 5. Then you will set the value as 10. What's happening there? You are passing an integer. What is the value? 10. You are storing that particular value for that particular variable. Okay, so 10 is getting stored to a variable of that particular object, p1. p1 की a की value P1 की A की value 10 हो गई, and then you are doing this get A again, so you will get 10. So what should you get as the output? 5 and 10. Okay, so let's see if that happens. Right? See, is it getting clear to you? So we are just it's just a workaround, right? ठीक है? So pretty straightforward. There is nothing hidden here. There is nothing difficult here, है ना? So I'm glad that you guys got it. These functions are called as, this is setting the value, so this is called as a setter. This is a getter function because it's getting the value. So these functions, these public functions are called as getters and setters. Okay. So today you might not be able to realize the value of these functions, but when you will write production level code, you will understand why we need to declare the variable as private and still have a public getter function, right? So because this is a very straightforward example, I just returned the value of A. But if it was an actual function, maybe at this step I would do some kind of authorization check, right? Before returning the value, I would ask who is asking for it. So by making it private, I have prohibited direct access, and inside my public getter function, I can implement whatever I want to and then selectively return this particular value. Okay, but I'm not going into that depth because that's not required at our level, right? I'm just making a simple getter function. Okay, so now we are clear with what private access modifier does, and there is something associated with it, public getter and setter function, right? So that's another thing. Okay. Sanket, not only other package, you can't even change the value in the same package also for private. So SK, we can write, it's a function only, so you can write any name you want, but the accepted practice is set and write the variable name, get and write the variable name. And because we follow camel casing in terms of naming the functions, you get the function as get A and set A, right? Yeah, so Anam, the same answer for you also. You can use any name, but the practice is to use it like this. Okay. Cool then. So let's come to the most tricky access modifier. Protected. Okay. So protected is one access modifier which is working as a public one when we are inside the package. So when you are inside the package, it will not throw you any error. Okay. Inside the package, no issues. But how we can access it outside the package, that is something I will show you. Okay, so let me declare something as protected quickly, right? Public demo, let me call it protected, and let me just save it once. Let me just paste it here, right, for you guys for reference later. Right, this is something you can use later. Anyways, sorry. So if I come back to this one, public demo, this is the class, right? Let me just clear it. And oop fun, let me just clear this main function. And dummy, let me just, okay. So we have everything ready. Now what we want to do is protected. Int A is equal to 5. Protected void fun. And what I want to do inside it is just write the same print statement, right? Inside this module 2, inside public demo class. And maybe you can, like, I should ideally make a different class because, you know, public demo was, I made it initially with the thought that I will just write the public code in it, right? So you can do it anyways, but yeah, at this class we are not giving, you know, getting that particular about it. But yeah, if you want, you can maybe make a protected demo class, right? Protected demo, right? If you want to do it inside this, you can do it inside this, right? So let's not use the public demo class anymore. Okay, let's use the protected demo class. Okay, it's a public class, but what am I doing? I want to demo you the use of protected data member variable and protected method. Okay, so what I want to do now is, oh sorry, which OOP one was that, right? So what I want to do is, first I want to show you what happens inside the same module. Inside the same module, access is same as we had in case of public, right? So protected demo, p1 is equal to new protected demo, right? p1.a is equal to 10, p1.fun, right? And maybe just print the value of p1.a, right? So see, no errors, and you will get this correct output also. So there is no problem. Inside public demo class, it's protected demo actually, but yeah, I think you get the point. Inside protected demo class, and then it's printing the value as 10 because you assigned the value as 10, right? So inside the same package, there is no issue, right? Inside the same package, it's same as public only. But the problem comes when you want to access it outside the package. And obviously you can access it inside class also. You can try it yourself, just take my word for it. Outside the class, outside the package is something where it becomes troublesome. Okay, so use of protected data members inside the same package, not an issue. Let's go to a different package. This is a different package, right? So let's come here. So protected demo, protected demo, p1 is equal to new protected demo, p1.a is equal to 10, p1.fun both these things are giving you error. What is it saying? A has protected access in the particular class, so you can't access it outside the package like this, and similarly for fun also, you can't access it. So there is a very specific way by which you can access protected data members outside the package. How can you do that? You can only access these outside the package. How? By making, or you can say inside child class, by making, or you can say inside child class through an object of child class. Okay, so there are two things. First thing is you can access it inside the child class only and through the object of the child class. So what I mean by saying that is, so if I make this class extend the protected demo, then what will happen is protected demo this. So see, this is not going to cut it. What did I say? I am inside the class which inherited my protected demo, and now if you say that okay, I have extended this, dummy has extended protected demo, so now it gives the right to use these variables inside dummy class. No, that's not what I'm saying. You cannot access it by using a object of this particular class. You can only access it by making an object of the child class only. So that's what I mentioned. Inside child class through an object of child class only. So what you can do is create an object for dummy. Then using this, you can access this variable error free, and you can access that particular function. Sorry, not run, it's fun, right? Is this thing clear? This is a very specific use case. That's why private is extreme, public is extreme, protected is something that comes with a little asterisk, terms and conditions, right? So if you have a doubt in it, just ask what the doubt is. Okay, clear, right? And you can also use it directly. See, so maybe if I want to declare a variable, in dummy, right, is equal to a. Do you see this? Variable in dummy is equal to a. A is equal to A is equal to 10 I have done. So before I do this, before I do A is equal to 10, let me do one thing. Let me show you the value of this thing, d1 dot variable in dummy. Okay, so see what I'm trying to tell you. If I run this particular thing, see, so do you see that you can also access it directly inside the child class, because protected data members also get inherited to the child class. Okay, so either you can do it by creating an object of child class, or you can access directly inside child class by the virtue of inheritance, right? So because of inheritance. So this is something I wanted to explain to you, and that is it. Wait, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं है. Why we use d1.fun? Where let me just see. Because d1 is the object of dummy, right? Can we use parent reference for protected modifiers? So that is something that even I have not wondered about, but let's try it. Protected demo p1 is equal to new dummy p1 dot a is equal to 10. Okay, so we are not getting this access. A has protected access. Okay, see, you can't do it, right? So you can only access it through the child class and child reference, right? That's also something very important. So that partially answers Abhishek's question, है ना, कि हम लोग को करना क्यों है dog d1 is equal to new dog, right? Sir, in our main coding, like in a game building, it uses basic things like loops, arrays. People, basic things only, and only the basic principles of OOP. What happens to protected variables in parent when it is inherited? Listen, this question is a little. Nothing happens to the variable inside parent because it's actually not there. When you are making a class, you are just defining the initial state of that variable. That variable is not actually existing in the memory. It comes into existence as soon as you create an object for it. उसके बाद अगर आप ऑब्जेक्ट के पर्टिकुलर ए की कॉपी को कुछ कर रहे हो, क्लास की डेफिनेशन तो वही है ना? So that is all about protected, right? So this is something that is you can say it's very particular, right? It's different than what we studied about private and public, right? So this is a little bit you can say something where you have to use your mind. बाकी सब तो straightforward था. Okay, and then what you have here is default. When you don't write any access modifier, so it takes default, right? So what happens then? Inside package, yes, so inside package you can use it anywhere. So it's like a public inside package. Outside package you can't use it. Outside package you can't use it. Okay, so let me demonstrate you. We have a very beautiful setting here, right? I told you that how you can use this particular a variable because it has protected access, and you have made it your extending class, child class. Okay, let me remove the protected access and then see the change that happens, right? See, you cannot use it in any way outside the package. A is not public, cannot be accessed from outside package. ठीक है ना? A protected था, in that case you can do all these things. But as soon as you make A default, remove any access modifier in front of it, then it can only be accessed inside the package. Outside package, there is no terms and conditions. You simply cannot access it. Okay. So even if I remove this particular line, what you can, this line also, let me just get rid of. So d1 is equal to new dummy, and if you want to do d1 dot a is equal to 10 or anything, or maybe if you want to do d1 dot fun, like you can't, fun को मैंने हटाया नहीं क्या? Okay, fun, let me make fun as default also. So when you make fun as default, it's not able to call it, right? So default means you can't call it anywhere outside the package, as simple as that, right? Okay. ठीक है? So I hope this is clear, and that is all we need to study about encapsulation. Is it clear? I think I took away your permission. Huh? Is it clear? These 4 access modifiers. And see, you are not supposed to mug it. इसको रटना नहीं है, right? This will all get absorbed naturally. It will take time. All you need to make sure in classes is that you are understanding it, so that when you study it yourself, you can understand it then also. है ना? Little bit confusing it is, right? But it should not be. So I'm not asking for crystal clarity because it's a lot of content. थोड़ा सा mix होगा, right? So after class, you can have that beginner's book wala website as a reference for you. Okay. Cool then. Vibhuti, this is something you can try on your own. Okay. So I have seen your other questions also, and by that I can judge that you can do it yourself. Okay. So I mean, you have that understanding. I trust you for that. So Vamsi, Google it. Public you know, static you know, void you know, main is the function that you use for, that is a starting point for our code. Okay, so you do it, right? There is a whole article on it on GFG, and it's a very good interview question. Explain the line public, static, void, main. Okay, so Google it. And then the last concept for OOP, we have abstraction. Okay, the 4th pillar. So in this particular case, so some people call, for encapsulation, some people call this particular concept as data hiding. Some people call it, right? But I personally find it very confusing, but some people say that we are hiding data in encapsulation. What we are actually doing is, we are implementing some security measures, right? Some safety measures. प्राइवेट कर दिया, किसी को प्रोटेक्टेड कर दिया, किसी को डिफॉल्ट एक्सेस मॉडिफायर दिया है, किसी को पब्लिक कर दिया है. सो ऑल दैट वी आर डूइंग, सो वी आर डूइंग इट फ्रॉम अ सिक्योरिटी पर्सपेक्टिव, राइट? एनकैप्सुलेशन, आई थिंक यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट. In case of abstraction, what we try to do is, we try to hide implementation details. We try to hide implementation details. Right. So to implement abstraction or to have abstraction in place, you use a keyword called as abstract. But we will get to it in some time. Before that, let us just get the idea of what abstraction is. Okay. Let me first explain you what I mean by saying we are hiding implementation details. Okay. So very simple example is, when I ask you to turn on the fan, you will go to the switchboard, you will press the switch which corresponds to the fan. If I ask you to change the speed, you will turn the regulator, right? Internally there is, capacitor, resistor, some complex calculation is happening inside the fan, by which the speed is getting decreased or increased. But do we know that in your daily life, do you care about what should be the RC of the circuit to make the speed low? What should happen if I want to make it higher? We don't do that, right? I mean, we don't understand that as normal human beings. So that implementation detail of how your fan is doing it is hidden from you. Similarly, if you take example of the gearbox in a car, right? Some of you who know how to drive a car, so you might relate with it. You just change gears. You press the clutch, you change the gear, release the clutch slowly, do some things. Internally, something complex is happening, right? You don't know it. You just change the gear from 1 to 2, just release the clutch slowly, and that's all you care about. So that implementation of what's happening inside is hidden from you. And if you go and study that implementation, that will actually make you a mechanical engineer, right? So there is a separate branch that is dedicated to understanding cars, engines, everything. So implementation is hidden from you there. So in your real life, you will see a lot of examples where implementation is hidden from you. Okay, so abstraction is having that basic idea. Okay, in terms of code, how do you hide implementation details? What do you mean by saying that I want to hide implementation details? Is that, let's take an example from a method because that is very intuitive to understand, right? So let's go back to our animal example. Okay, so animal class was there. It had a sound function. It had a sound function, right? Some declaration was there. Then we had cat and then we had dog. They also had sound function of their own, right? They also had their own implementation, right? But animal also had a sound function. It was doing something. Some of you were having this doubt that if we are not using the sound function of animal, why are we even having it there? Why do we have it in the first place, right? So to answer that particular question, because you know, each time that you will inherit from animal, each time that you make an animal that will inherit from the animal class, you are going to give a unique implementation to the sound function, a specific implementation to the sound function. Every time you are going to do it. So what you think is, why not just remove the implementation from here? I can just keep the name sound function there just to inform the coder or the programmer that okay, animal is going to have a function called sound. Implementation is your responsibility. Okay, so when we have cases like that, when you don't want to implement the function inside animal anymore, what you will do is you will declare it as an abstract function. Okay, so just to give some more clarity to you, abstract method, what does it have? It only has return type and method signature, right? It has no body, right? Or it has, you can say it has no implementation. Okay, so if I want to make an abstract function, I will have to use the keyword abstract. So instead of saying sound and then give an implementation for it, which I'm never going to use, what I will do inside animal class now is abstract void sound. That's it. That's how you declare an abstract function. Okay, that's how you declare an abstract function. Okay, so the utility is pretty straightforward. You do not want to implement the sound function there itself because you know whichever class is going to inherit it is going to give a specific implementation of the sound function. So I don't want to define my sound function here, right? That's why you're declaring it as an abstract function, right? To have an abstract function, you must also declare your class as an abstract class. Okay, so far what have I covered? Methods without body, abstract methods, right? This is the first point. Second point is you can only have abstract methods inside abstract classes. Third point is, I didn't tell you, I'm telling it to you now. You can also have solid functions. Solid function, I'm just naming this as solid functions, functions with an implementation. You can also have solid functions inside abstract class. Okay, so basically you have the power of hiding the implementation details, but it is not compulsory. If you have an abstract class, you are given the flexibility, okay, that you can have a class where you can declare abstract methods, but it's not compulsory for you. So let me demonstrate the points so far. Okay, let me demonstrate these points and till then let me also give you access to chat so that you can ask your doubts there. Okay, let's get back to OOP fun. Okay, this one is not very important because it's the same package. Okay, so now let's create a class animal. Abstract class animal, right? Abstract class animal, abstract void sound this. If I remove the abstract keyword from here, see what happens. Error. Abstract method in non-abstract class, that's an error, right? So you will have to have abstract class. Inside that only you can make abstract methods. Okay, this is how you declare an abstract method, right? Implementation. Implementation to be given in the child class. Okay, right? You can also have solid functions here. So if I, just for an example, I'm making it, okay, void run animal runs. Okay, na? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. What is the first point? If you want to make an abstract method, you can only make it inside abstract class. Second point is, even if you have an abstract class, you have the flexibility of making a function and giving the implementation also. And the third point is, if you want to abstract keyword use karna, that's the third point, right? Functions without any body are abstract functions. So what is the need of having this? So even if it is not defined, it is still telling you what the animal, what is the particular function that will what is the particular function that animal will have. It does not have any implementation, but it is still telling you what. Okay, where is the implementation hidden? Where will you do the implementation? You will do the implementation in the child class. So if you try to relate it with the real life example that I gave, this abstract class that is the base for everything is actually your switchboard. Okay, and your child classes where you are actually doing your hard work, you are coding it, you are writing the implementation in a very proper manner. That is your inside of a fan. Okay, so your abstract parent class is your switchboard, and the inside of a fan is what? The child class where you are actually having all that implementation. Okay, is this making sense? Will always parent class be no सूरज अभी तक का डिस्कशन में अपन ने abstract यूज ही नहीं किया. So parent class का abstract होना कोई जरूरी नहीं है. What is the real use of abstract really? So the last thing that I explained, boy, I think it would make it a little bit clear to you, right? Void run, void run, it's a function. Shubham, what's it out? It's a function. है ना? What's it out? Abstract class declared. है ना? So others, is it clear? So abstract classes have public or private access. So that is dependent on you. That access modification is a different thing. You can use the same concept on abstract methods also. है ना? But if you declare the abstract method that's private, there is no use ना. आप तो उसको वो ही नहीं कर पाओगे, implement ही नहीं कर पाओगे, right? What if child class does not implement abstract method? Burman, very good question. I will come to it. Then why it's not allowed to create object of abstract class rather than avoiding creating child class object? But that's what, no, because your abstract class is not actually a complete class, right? Do you realize this? Your abstract class is there, it has functions but without implementation. So are you getting this feeling that, do you know the Hindi word khokhla? It's hollow. It's hollow from inside. It's having partial information, right? It has the function name, but it does not tell you the implementation. So if you make the object and call this function, what will you do? Right? So what Java thinks is when you are making a class abstract, it's not actually going to result in a physical entity, right? Because if it was a complete class और आप उसका ऑब्जेक्ट बना रहे होते तो आप उसका बिहेवियर भी प्रॉपर्ली डिफाइन करते ना. So that is what is intended by Java. So they mean when you create an abstract class, उसका ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओगे तो इस फंक्शन को कॉल करके क्या करोगे? What will you do here? That's the point. That's why the idea is abstract class is just a template. I told you, right, in the first class is a template. So you can say abstract class is a further level of that. It's a template for telling you on making how to make a child class. It's a template that is telling you how to make a child class. And now if you make a child class, so class dog, sorry, right? So now if you make, you are seeing this error here, I will tell you why. Okay, now if you make the dog, you will give proper implementation for sound. Run function is anyways there. You can give some other functions also. Then what will happen? Dog will be the first item that will have everything properly defined, and then you can make object for dog. Because uske liye sab properly defined hoga, right? So another thing that we that I want to tell you from here is, if you extend an abstract class, you must implement all abstract functions. Because if you're not implementing the abstract functions, what does it mean? You have inherited those abstract functions, unko aap implement bhi nahi kar rahe ho. That means you still have those abstract functions inside the child class, right? That is not allowed. In a normal class, you cannot have abstract functions. In which case can you have it? You can have that if your child class is also abstract class. Either inherit from the abstract class, declare or define all the functions, or make the child class as abstract. Right? So these things are they getting clear to you? If not, you can ask her doubts. Can we just say it tells these are the properties of the, yeah, that the child class can inherit. So although it's technically a function, but yeah, it's just telling you this functionality is going to be there. Speed kam kar sakte ho. You can decrease the speed. You can increase the speed. You can make a sound. How? That implementation is hidden in the child class. Okay. So one thing, when we can actually declare a function or variable in a normal class without defining them, then defining them in child classes. So that's the point, right, Eva learner? So you had to declare sound function even though you were not using it actually, right? So that's the point. When you know that you are anyways going to use it, declare it in the child class, you are formally declaring, right? You are formally telling that I don't want to give any implementation in my template class. I'm just informing you what all functions I'm going to have. I'm not telling you how I'm going to implement it. That how is hidden in the child class. So go there and take a look. So it's just, do you realize it's just giving your code a more, it's making your code easy to read, right? So now if anyone comes and sees the abstract class animal, it knows what all properties animal is going to contain. And it also knows that its implementation is hidden somewhere in the child class, right? So instead of directly making a dog or a cat or anything, you are fixing an upper template. Based on that, you are then building it further, right? So the idea behind making abstract classes is that, listen to this, understand this very carefully. There is no such thing as an animal. Animal is just a concept. It's just an abstract thought. What is the real thing? A dog is real. A cat is real. A human being is real. But there is nothing called as animal, right? We are all animals, technically speaking, but are you getting my point? Animal in itself is nothing. केवल ये बोल के कि एनिमल बनाना है, think it like this. If I tell you make an animal, do you understand? Is this information enough? But when I say the word animal, certain properties come to your mind. Animal है तो बोलेगा, animal है तो दौड़ेगा, animal है तो ये कुछ 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 करेगा. But animal in itself is not an actual thing जिसके आप ऑब्जेक्ट बना सकते हो, जिसके आप रेप्लिका बना सकते हो. रेप्लिका किसके बनेंगे? डॉग के, कैट के, ह्यूमन बींग्स के. सो एनिमल इज जस्ट अ कंसेप्ट. उसकी इंप्लीमेंटेशन जब हो रही है, देन यू विल गेट द रियल डील. आर यू गेटिंग दिस इंट्यूशन? Abstract is just for better understanding, cleaner and clearer code. Yes, Everlearner. Yeah. Right. So why are we getting an error here? Because I told you, right? अगर आपने इसको inherit किया है, तो आपको functions की implementation देनी पड़ेगी. Right? How can you do that? Just do it. Void sound. Right? And कुछ भी दे दो अंदर. Error चला गया because technically जैसे आपने curly braces लगाए, मतलब बॉडी आ गई. बॉडी खाली है पर बॉडी है. डू यू सी द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दिस एंड दिस? दिस इज बॉडी एंड इन दिस फंक्शन देयर इज नथिंग व्हिच आई कैन कॉल एज बॉडी, राइट? बट ऑब्वियसली दिस इज नॉट व्हाट वी विल डू. वी विल गिव सम इंप्लीमेंटेशन. लेट्स से अगेन डॉग बार्क्स, है ना? एंड इफ आई लेट्स से इफ आई कमेंट आउट दिस फंक्शन, आई एम अगेन गोइंग टू गेट दिस एरर. क्लास डॉग must either be declared as abstract, या तो आप कह दो कि ये भी abstract है, या तो implement the abstract method sound that is present in animal, है ना? So how I can get rid of this error? First is I can make a function like this, and second is I can make this class also abstract, because abstract class is allowed to have abstract methods, right? Can I say this is also an example of method overloading? No, actually this is, you know, we are implementing it for the first time, so it's not actually overriding, or it's not actually overriding. Are you getting it? You have an implementation, you are overriding that implementation. You have nothing, you are implementing for the first time. So that's the difference. You have something, you are specifically changing it from here. You don't have anything, that's why you have to implement. That's the case here, right? So let me quickly see what all I brought for you guys today. Implementation hiding, I told you. Car gear example I gave you. Human animal sound example I gave you. Inheriting from abstract class, must implement all abstract methods or declare the class as abstract. That also I told you, right? And you can't create objects for the abstract class, so that all I told you, right? So there is one more thing that I want to cover, and then I will leave the class. Okay, today is last class of Upia. Technically speaking, I can end at this note also, but there is one thing that I want to tell you before we leave. So you see, some people say, or you can say the theory in Java says that abstraction means you want to hide the details. But when you use the abstract keyword, it's actually not 100% abstraction. You can have abstract methods, and you can choose not to have abstract method also, right? So that's the property of an abstract class. So to achieve, you can say, to achieve 100% abstraction, there is something that we use that is called as an interface. Don't get frightened by this word. Don't worry about this word. What is this? It's not a technical definition. I am telling it to you like this. An abstract class which can only have abstract methods. Okay, so it's not an abstract class. Okay, it's not an abstract class. Just to explain it to you, I am saying that it is an abstract class, just for explaining. Okay, it's like an abstract class which does not have any abstract method. So when you declare an interface, एक होता है abstract class, एक होगा interface. When you declare an interface, you will not be allowed to have any solid functions, any functions that will have any implementation. ठीक है, बाकी सारी प्रॉपर्टीज इंटरफेस की एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास से सिमिलर है। ओके, कैसे सिमिलर है? सो मेथड विदाउट बॉडी यू कैन हैव हियर, राइट? और बाय डिफॉल्ट इंटरफेस के अंदर आपको एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कीवर्ड नहीं यूज करना। अगर आप लिखोगे ना void run, तो वो अपने आप मान लेगा कि ये पब्लिक और एब्स्ट्रैक्ट फंक्शन है। सो हियर functions are public and abstract by default. Okay, focus on this one now. I'm not asking you to focus on the access modifier for now, because that will just complicate our understanding, and at this point I don't want to make things tough for you. When you read it after 1 month, take this into account as well, but abhi ke liye focus that these functions are abstract by default. So inside an interface you can directly write, so I'm commenting this out, okay, because I want to paste it later. Interface animal, inside this I can directly write void sound and be done with it. So I'm not writing abstract, but it is by default getting it as abstract only. So it's same as writing abstract void sound. It's same as writing that. But see, if you come here, modifier, see, this is the beauty of IntelliJ. It's telling you modifier abstract is redundant for interface methods, because अगर आप नहीं भी लिखोगे तो interface knows that the method is abstract only, right? And if you try to give implementation here, you will see errors. See, what does it say? Interface abstract methods cannot have body. मतलब abstract methods cannot have body and interface can only have abstract methods. Okay, there is just one difference. You extend a class, but you implement interfaces. Can you guess why? Why is the difference of words there? You extend classes, but you implement interfaces. Can abstract class implement interface? Yeah, Akash, yeah, no issues. You implement interfaces because implement interfaces or abstract methods only. Nothing to extend, you can say. What you can do, however, is you can implement those methods inside that, right? So that's all that I'm going to tell you for interfaces. We can have a short discussion on interface later also, but at this point it's fine. Other properties of interface are similar to that of abstract class. जैसे क्या है? You can have abstract methods inside. You can only have abstract methods inside an interface. You cannot have this. If you implement an interface, you must declare all the functions or you declare your class as abstract. अगर आपको चाहिए कि मैं इंटरफेस में 10 फंक्शन लिख रहा हूं, मैं 5 को इंप्लीमेंट करूंगा, तो अपनी क्लास को एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बना लो, राइट? That's all for OOP. Okay, we are done with OOP. Abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, object, class, everything, right? So you will have, I will request Lakshay to keep doubt sessions for OOP, because OOP is not something that we understand in one go. आज पढ़ लिया तो हो गया जिंदगी भर का नहीं. It will require a lot of reading from your side and regular practice. Okay, the good thing is कि अगला टॉपिक अपना लिंक लिस्ट है, so we will have multiple classes and object creation and constructed everything. We will only be touching the basics of that, but we will still be having it. So I would request Lakshay to keep some doubt classes for OOP, and we are formally done with OOP now. Okay, can we ask कहाँ गया? Can we ask that in live doubt session? Yeah, you can ask it. Yeah, if I am asked in an interview, let me just stop the recording, okay, because lecture is formally done.